This is
Dreamcatcher Radio.
Now, if you ever wanted to have a fiery conversation, start talking about council tax and where your money's actually being spent. It's proper barroom talk, especially if you talk to anybody over the age of, I would say, 30. And council tax is quite an interesting subject matter because you're paying more, getting less, and nobody's happy, it appears. People in the local authority are not happy. They're actually working there, providing the services. And all civil servants, there just doesn't seem to be much pleasantries to be had. I think the impression I get, they find their work laborious and they just don't want to be there. The Martin Lewis has raised a very, very good point. I'm a fan of Martin Lewis. He's made a lot of money out of helping people, which is fair game. He's a very, very wealthy man. But it's about how council tax is affecting people that can't afford to pay. It's not won't pay, not willing to pay. There's plenty of people that don't want to pay and not willing to pay. Just go to the internet. You'll find plenty of people, and they will tell you all sorts of obscure reasons how to not pay council tax. I would say that these reasonings and their propositions, which cost you money, will put you into a very, very bad situation. But one thing that does amaze me is that a local authority can actually hire a courtroom and, in effect, rubber stamp liability orders in a bulk basis. And without any checks of mean testing, any rhyme or reasoning, so there could be hundreds at a time. And what I don't understand as well is how debt collection can be so fast-tracked so quickly, to the point where bailiffs come to your door. And I'm guessing when you come to a position where you can't pay council tax, I mean, some people can't even pay rent, let alone council tax. Things are pretty dire. And anyway, so his Martin Lewis's campaign is about how to give due process for when a liability order is issued. The whole legality of liability orders, anyway, is very, very questionable. Very questionable. But where that he's asking government to basically say this is not right. Bank creditors or loan companies and alike can't move at the pace that somehow the council tax have got relief to be able to do. And I must admit, I agree with him. I find it very, very odd. Very odd. Anyway, it's quite an emotional piece here by Martin Lewis. And I just say on behalf of people who are really struggling, thank you, Martin Lewis, for what you do, because you really do, you and your team do genuinely help people. You're proper muckrakers. Here's his interview.
Millions of people, and suddenly it's a campaign win out of nowhere. I'm very happy, slightly confused, trying to work out what work I need to do, and a little bit emotional about it. So I thought I'd just record that feeling and try and explain it to you. I'm a bit teary, if I'm honest, in a good way though, because I just had a win that I wasn't expecting. It's almost sort of feels slightly anticlimactic, but it's amazing. So I've just got off air, literally just off air after presenting Good Morning Britain. And this is all about council tax debt collection, which is something, along with my charity, the Money and Mental Health Policy Institute, I've been campaigning on since last November, because it is the most vicious and aggressive and damaging form of debt collection that is out there. If you miss a monthly payment within 3 weeks, they will ask you for a year's payment, most councils. Then if you don't pay that, and how are you going to pay for a year if you can't afford to pay for the month? 2 weeks later, they'll go to court. They'll get a liability order, which will normally add 150 quid onto your costs. And a week later, they can have bailiffs in. 6 weeks from missing one payment to bailiffs in for the entire year plus additional costs. It is absolutely catastrophic and devastating for people's finances. No commercial company would be allowed to do the same because they have a consumer duty. That means they have a duty to, first of all, do what's in the best interest of consumers. And it would take probably 6 months to a year before they got in the same situation. And council tax have constituents who don't have those rights. So this has been something I have met since we've been campaigning on it. And it was something that originally came from the research community of my charity with all these people who've got mental health and money problems saying this is a bad one. So many people for whom council tax debt collection has been absolutely catastrophic and the tipping point that has destroyed their finances because of the aggressive and rapid progression of how much debts they come in. And we've been fighting it. And the main thing is to say, look, don't suddenly ask people for a year, 3 weeks after they can't pay a month. Try and signpost them for debt help and work with them so they can afford to pay. And we had the Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster, which is a senior member of the Cabinet, Pat McFadden, on the show. And I'd notified yesterday that I wanted to talk about this because what often happens when you've got politicians on it, and if it's not their department, they say, sorry, I can't talk, I don't know. So I was like, I don't want you to be able to say, I don't know about this. And I've had meetings with senior people in the government on this before. And then at 8 o'clock, we got a statement, a right of reply. And I was expecting the usual, oh, we'll try and do everything. And at the end, it said, we will be launching a consultation. And it was just, I was like, what? I mean, first up, we're launching a consultation. And then we had Pat McFadden on the show and he said, yeah. And he said, we're consulting. I said, are you consulting? He said, well, we'll launch a consultation this week. I mean, that is, and what he then said is, absolutely, we will look at this issue that we should not be suddenly allowing them to ask for a year's worth of payments when they've just missed a month, because how are people who can't pay a month going to be able to pay for a year? Sorry if I'm not being as lucid as I normally am. And I'm suddenly sitting there afterwards going, yes, I cannot tell you how many desperate people I have met whose lives have been absolutely ruined by this form of debt collection. We're hearing someone on the show who had bailiffs to their hospital bed. And, well, look, I mean, it's only a consultation, but I'm hoping that this is the start of changing things. It's one of those things that people don't talk about, but affects millions of people. And suddenly it's a campaign win out of nowhere. I'm very happy. Slightly confused, trying to work out what work I need to do, and a little bit emotional about it. So I thought I'd just record that feeling and try and explain it to you.